Welcome to What's Happening in Miami County. Here's your hosts, Don Smith and Bill Cartwright.
I'm Don.
And I'm Bill. And hey, Don, did you know that today is National Paperclip Day in America?
Oh, now I got a question.
Okay.
Is this kind of a thing a paperclip?
Maybe not.
I'm wondering if that's a paperclip, because the old days when I was...
This is a paperclip in my book.
Well, this is the modern 2.0 paperclip.
That, I guess that could be, but you know, they're important.
So we're celebrating that today?
That's what day it is.
Well,
So,
I'm excited. At least we didn't have to wear a straw hat. We're good.
That's true. That is true.
So what else you been doing lately?
Well, I got a report back on the Celtic Fest. From Monty, and he said it was very nice. It was fairly well attended, but we got to remember this is the first year for it. So hopefully it's something that they can build on, because it ought to be a lot of fun. That was at Johnson Farm and Indian Agency. So that was cool. And then I went to the tribute band for the Eagles, their concert at Arbogast, and it was phenomenal. They sounded so much like the Eagles. It was amazing, simply amazing. So, and then we also had something that you and I both were part of, and that was the event at the Piqua Library for Friends of the Library. Had their what do we call it? Oh yes, the history of rolled ice cream with Tom Lillicrap, and that went over really well.
Well, you know, anytime you feed somebody ice cream, it's going to go over well.
Absolutely, yeah, because I have a very good friend that I was at their house just yesterday, and they fed me ice cream, and it was really good.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Why wasn't I invited?
Well, because it was at your house.
Oh, I wondered why all those people were there.
Yeah, well, okay. Surprise.
Well, it was a test, you know. We were making ice cream, 5 gallons of ice cream, so that we could do an event later, and we wanted to see how the ice cream machine was working so that we could be sure that we had the right goings on when the time came. But that was a kind of a fun thing too. I was impressed with Tom because he talked about his history and the candy store and the ice cream and how that all came to be. And it's really an interesting story.
It was a very good event. It was a very good event.
People seem to enjoy it.
So what you been doing?
Well, you know, I had the important stuff. First, we went to the Taste of the Arts. You
yes.
You were there too. We did the Taste of the Arts.
Yes, that was
and
wonderful.
I had my usual. Now, I hope they don't get offended by this, but I've always called them cardboard tenderloins because I like the Young Life tenderloin sandwich. And it's a real thin piece of tenderloin with a nice breading, and I really like that. And so I had my cardboard tenderloin, and I had some other stuff while I was there, and there was a lot of vendors too, which made it really interesting. So I was looking at all the different vendors, and it was, I felt sorry for Lorna because she's done it the last several years, and the weather was perfect this time, and she's had to contend with rain the last couple of years. So our new director, Stacy, was pretty lucky because she had a beautiful day for it and a large turnout.
Yeah, it was a fun event. It really was. And I liked the tenderloin too. It was very good.
Well, and you know, after the tenderloin, I had to go have a colonoscopy. Now, well, you know, it's part of what you do. But the good thing about that was when the doctor came in to give me the report, which, by the way, was pretty good. But when she gave me the report, she says, "You'll never have to have another one." I almost wanted to stand up then, but I wasn't quite ready yet to stand up. But it was good to hear that. And then I cooked at the Bethany Center last week, and we had quite a few people there, and that was good. And let's see, what else did we do? The advantage of aging, by the way, is that colonoscopy thing, because they said, you know, I'm too old to have them anymore.
I know, same here.
So that's good.
Yep.
But we also worked at the Memorial Day Parade. My wife and I handed out flags at 9 o'clock on Monday morning because Kathy Haney gives flags to everybody who's in the parade, which to me is an amazing gift to the community
It
for
really
her
is.
to do that. And the corner of Washington and Park is a very busy corner. So she asked us to go there so that we could hand out flags, so we didn't stop the whole parade,
yeah.
because they hand them out along the parade route as they go. But she decided that in this case, we could hand them out there. So that's pretty much what we did. And then, of course, we had the ice cream social that you came to, which was our test program. So other than that, that's about it for us this time.
Oh, that's good. So
do you have some events coming up?
yes, we do have some events. Of course, the big one is the Strawberry Festival.
Oh, yeah.
That's coming up June 1st with this coming weekend. It should be a lot of fun. And I thought I'd take the opportunity to let you know about who the Queen is for 2024. And the Queen is Jackie Harris. She's from Bethel High School. And then her attendance was Kristen Seedham from Troy High School. And then Josie Birdsong from Tippecanoe High School. And then Miss Congeniality was Lana McAdams at Miami East High School. So that's the Queen and her court. So I thought that would be fun to let everybody know who exactly that was. But there are so many events. I mean, I've got pages and pages, which I am not going to read, but just say that there is numerous things going on starting at like 10 a.m. in the morning, and probably even before that, and all through both days. So it's going to be a fun event, a lot of good strawberries, and I've had some of the strawberries from Fulham. They're pretty good right now. So, so please, if you can, go to it. It's just going to be a lot of fun. And then one other thing I wanted to bring up, because this is coming up June 1st also, this weekend, and that's the Bradford, Ohio Railroad Festival and Train Meet, which I told you about the last time. But that's in Bradford, Ohio. So it'll be fun. And for more information, you can go to bradfordmuseum.org, and they can tell you what's going on. If you're a train enthusiast, you'll love it. But it should be just a lot of fun. There'll be a lot of other events and stuff going on during that also. And then, of course, one other thing I just want to bring up, and then we can move on, but it's the Piqua Community Farmers Market. It's on Thursdays. I happened to walk through this last Thursday. They had a lot of good stuff there already. So, and I know it's early in the season, so it's just going to get better as it goes. So don't forget that, and help support that, and help support local farmers. I think it's a really good program. So
They had the bees there too. I always think that's interesting. They bring a beehive, and you can see all those bees actively working because they're selling honey. And I noticed that. And there's just a lot of good things there. I walked through there too, saw a lot of people I know. And
speaking of which, of bees, something else that was going on this weekend, that it was at my son-in-law's house. He is a beekeeper.
Oh.
And he has something like 13 hives and all that. And he was pulling honey this weekend. So that's if you don't know, you should look it up, because it's a very interesting process. How they take off, the combs and how they spin the honey out, and how the bees, there's not a lot of cleanup when it comes to the honeycombs, because the bees take care of cleaning it all and getting it ready to go again. So it's a fascinating process, but he makes some really, well, he doesn't make it, but the bees make the honey, but it's really good honey. So.
And I can attest to that, because we use his honey at our
Yes,
house.
you do. Yes,
and
you do.
it's really good. And it is available for purchase.
Well, it is, yeah.
But it just amazes me. I have a young lady who I think is a 7th grader. I'm not sure what her grade level is, but she's a beekeeper in Pennsylvania, and she sells her honey. And her sister is a raiser of chickens and sells eggs.
Sells eggs, yeah.
And I asked the mom, I said, are you selling it to a high enough price? She said, we don't have to worry too much about the price because the cuteness factor kicks in and everybody gives them extra money when they sell them stuff. So,
they do.
but, you know, I think
And they are cute girls. They really are.
Well, and it's interesting to me that that they've gotten into those little businesses at their young age, as well as everything else they do at school. So it's really a cool thing. So I'm excited about that. So, well, you know, there's a lot of things going on, and
I have a question real quick.
Yeah.
Last time we talked about Pleasant Hill.
Yes.
And we didn't know, the monument, and we didn't know what the PHO stood for behind the Wallace's name, L. Wallace.
Well, you know, we ask all of you to let us know what you thought about that, and I will report in that none of you said a word. We didn't get any information back, so Bill made it up. So now we have it officially under control. We know what was it? PHO stands for. Because we've decided that it is
Pleasant Hill, Ohio. That's where he's from. So
L. Wallace, Pleasant Hill, Ohio, was the person who did the monument. So I'm glad we were able to get that resolved.
Yes,
but you all are supposed to become active and let us know about these things so that we can be prepared.
We need help.
Oh boy, do we need help. We need all kinds of help as far as that's concerned.
Yeah.
But, you know, it was really enjoyable. A few days ago, AJ took his camera and we took our bodies and we all went out to the Lock 9. And at Lock 9, we talked to Chris Schmeezing. And Chris gave us an update on Lock 9, and he gave us updates on some other things. And we're going to cut right now to that interview so that you can see our interview with Chris Schmeezing out at Lock 9.
Yeah, it's really good.
Can you believe it? We left the studio and we're at Lock 9, and we're at Lock 9 with Chris Schmeezing, and Chris Schmeezing is the development director. I know the title's a lot longer than that, but I'm just saying development director for Piqua, and is kind of in charge of making sure that everything gets done. And we're here to talk to him a little bit today about what's going on around Piqua, and we're going to start with Lock 9. So Chris, can you tell me how are we doing with Lock 9 right now?
Well, we're doing good. We've got a fabulous contractor, ATCS, who's leading the way on this project, and they've done a marvelous job of coordinating the subcontractors and managing the project schedule. You know, the initial timeline was projected that we'd be done around Memorial Day of this year, and we've had a few additions to the projects that have extended that just a minute, so we're looking pretty good to be complete by the end of June. Might still be a few little loose ends, but I think by and large the project will be in good shape by the end of June.
So by the end of June, our citizens of the county will be able to come out here and enjoy the area that we're putting together right now?
That's the anticipation, yeah. We hope to have a ribbon cutting as soon as we've got a few more delivery dates on some of the materials firmed up, and we feel really confident about where the completion progress will be at. We'll set a ribbon cutting probably early July, and then we've got a first event scheduled for July 27th. So one way or another, the county's going to enjoy this place on July 27th.
Okay, well, everyone should mark your calendar for July 27th, because that's going to be the first big event here at Lock 9. And I'm just really amazed at all the work that's been done already. And
it's looking awesome. It really is.
And I
really
was really excited when the pavilion, do you call it a pavilion?
Yes.
Okay, when the pavilion came up, it just makes a whole new look to this part of the city. So that's a really great thing. Bill, you got any questions for us, Chris?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's, like I said, it's looking awesome. But I was wondering, is there anything going to be done with the railroad bridge?
So this whole project stems out of our placemaking initiative, which is really an economic development initiative geared towards creating places in the downtown, making the downtown a place that's interesting and inviting to people and businesses to want to be there. So hence my involvement with the project, that and the fact that I've been involved since we first started the discussion a long time ago. But the overpass, the bike bridge over the river, which, by the way, it's abandoned rail line,
Right.
50 feet above the water. We transformed that into a bicycle pedestrian facility in the mid-90s. So we had a High Line before the High Line was a thing in New York. So take that. But obviously the deck that we put on there, the womanized lumber, the railroad ties, is less than ideal with some of the fire events we've had. So the intent, the bigger picture design, is to strip that wood off of the superstructure and leave the patina steel and just celebrate the history and character of the railroad era gone by, and then put a lightweight concrete deck on there with a contemporary railing and LED lights that complement the finishes of the park and enhance the access, so there's better ADA access on the west end there.
That'll look great.
That's a future phase, funding to be determined. So
There you go.
but for now, that's the vision.
I hate the
good.
part about how everything is funding. You got to have the money for it.
It helps.
I have so many
Yes.
ideas, but where's the money come from? That's exactly right. But I want to ask you another question about this park, because I want to know about the water. Because I've had people ask me, the river is lower than it's ever been, except for when we have these major rainstorms. And you look at the river, and part of what we're trying to do is get people on the river down here. Is there going to be anything done that will help us to maintain what used to be the water level?
Well, so the question that you're asking is more related to the low dam removal project behind the power plant. And that's a project, a discussion that started here again maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and recognizing that the structure is obsolete. It's no longer used for its original purposes, which was to pool water for intake on the power plant to cool the operations. And then the outfall was the warm water, which created water quality concerns. None of that's necessary anymore with the decommissioning of the power plant. The low dam was a maintenance liability. It cost us a lot of money to keep the gates operable and make it perform the way it was originally designed. U.S. Fish and Wildlife's not a fan. They prefer those go away, and so do the OEPA and other regulatory agencies that concern themselves with environmental and water quality issues. So we're going to end up with funding through their funding sources that will pay for, we anticipate 100% of the project to remove that low dam. And I say remove, it's really a modification. The design is in the process of being completed now, but that will eliminate that artificial barrier, which right now the gates are broke. So the gates have been open for quite some time, hence the water lower than what people have been accustomed to. But it's really more resembling what the natural elevation of the water is. And so when the dam comes out, there will be a little bit of a riffles area that will be created there. And then there'll be some upstream interventions where they'll put some W-weirs or J-hooks, they call them, which is strategically placing boulders and concrete rubble in the river corridor to almost create this terracing of the water elevation from the upstream pool, which is really behind us at the bend in the river behind the old Decker plant, all the way down to the low dam location. So there'll be 4, 5, 6 of these structures. I'll call it a structure, but it's really rubbleized rock that will create an interesting play area for paddlecraft as they navigate down the river, and also enhance the fishing and the opportunities that it represents that way in terms of just recreation and interface with the water as a human being, as opposed to a powerboat. So it's a change from what we've had historically, but it really is geared towards what the trends are in outdoor recreation and what is appropriate to engage people and get more people on the water. And so it's a good thing. What's happening is all intentional, and it all complements what we're doing at Loch Nine Park in terms of giving people a sense of place and an outdoor recreation amenity and adventure that they can come enjoy and have a reason to want to come here.
That'll be awesome.
It will be, and it's kind of amazing, because as an old guy citizen of Piqua, you know, you're not used to change. And when something does change, you're like, well, now what's going to happen? And you've just explained it, because I've been really concerned about the water. And I think, you know, when you get that all in place somewhere down the road, as I tell everybody, you know, I'm going to live only a few more years, so therefore I want to see it done. And I think it'll be done by the time I'm ready to go on to my next reward. So
That one's being designed now, and we anticipate a 2026 construction for the low dam removal and
nice.
the features I just described.
that's really good, because I'm not going anywhere.
Now you do.
Yeah, Bill, do you have any more questions on the,
okay,
on
so
the
this,
Lock 9?
this facility is going to be great, and I anticipate there's going to be hundreds, if not thousands, of people coming down here. So during these events, the traffic pattern, is anything going to be happening there, or does that have to remain open since it's a state highway?
Sure. Well, there again, part of the discussion in the bigger picture context is transportation planning. And as we look at the downtown corridor and the placemaking environment that we're, you know, the sense of comfort level for pedestrians and people that spend money in those shops and want to walk the sidewalks and need to cross the street, the idea is, how do you make that as inviting as possible? So along Main Street, there'll be some improvements that will make the crosswalks more hospitable for pedestrians. It'll also serve to calm the traffic, that is, let truck traffic know that you don't belong here, stay on the state routes and the US route. But as it relates to US 36 through here, that's pretty locked in. You can't do much to move the traffic off of that. But we are looking at an alternative route that would take 36, if you're so inclined, to get to 75 and pick you off at Covington and College, down College Street to Clark and out 25A. So now it relieves some of the truck traffic that otherwise is just traversing through town to get to the interstate.
Oh, that's good. That'll be great.
Yeah, and I'm wondering too about the condominiums or the walk-up apartments that are going to be on the other side over there. I understand that there is a plan for that. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, super excited about this. It's and you know, the whole Lock 9 Park project is a public investment driving private investment, right? So what we're doing here is drawing the interest in developers who are already doing things in our community. You can see the different buildings that have been renovated and the projects that have happened, not the least of which is the one we're standing next to. But there's also some other projects that are of a much larger scale, and the Lock 9 Residence is one of them. So the RCS, the developer there, will end up building 3 structures. That the 2 will be 3-story, 12-unit buildings, and they'll be market rate with quality finish apartment spaces, 1 and 2 bedrooms, and they'll be overlooking Lock 9 Park, the waterway, the walking trail, and really provide that opportunity for downtown living that we don't have. So you'll have modern construction, modern finishes, and convenience to, you know, phenomenal park space and the events that'll happen here. Easy access to the trail system to go for a walk or a run or a bike ride, or jump in the river and paddlecraft, do have some fun there, and or come to the microbrewery and grab a beer and a sandwich, or Winans and get a coffee, or Susie's Big Dipper and get some ice cream, or Tom's place over there and grab some sandwich or rolled ice cream. So the whole idea is that, you know, not everybody, but there are some people who want to live in a downtown setting where they can walk to these kind of amenities, and they don't necessarily want to own the property and have to maintain the property. So they'll have 2 12-unit structures, 3 stories tall, and then a third around the corner that's a 6-unit structure. So a total of 30 units. When it's all said and done, they'll build them in phases. It's in permitting right now, and we I keep nudging Jim, the project manager, that hey, let's start. And we hope that construction will start yet this year, is what we're being told.
Well, that's really exciting. And while we're standing here, I have to point out one thing. The historic building directly across the street is the first electric plant in the city of Piqua, and the gentleman who has purchased that building has certainly made it an attractive building to look at. Absolutely. And eventually I'm sure there's going to be some exciting things going on in there too. So I want to make sure that we at least acknowledge that. And we are on the patio of the Crooked Handle, and this is part of what they're going to see. If you're sitting at the patio of the Crooked Handle, you're going to be able to look out at Lock 9, and I think that's going to be a really, really nice thing too. So I'm really excited about all that.
I have a question about the old mill building.
Sure.
Is there any plans for that, or what's happening with that right now?
Sure. Again, as part of the placemaking initiative and thinking about the design of the park and the interface with the surrounding properties, it was really looking towards how can these public improvements help reactivate these structures for their next use, right? Whatever that might be. And there's nothing imminent for the mill building. There's a lot of vision and a lot of ideas, but there's also private ownership interest in some things that have to be resolved before anything could happen there. But we are diligently working towards a positive outcome.
Great.
I can tell you that when I was in the restaurant business back in the day, we used to come to the Bill and buy some of our items that we needed, yeast and flour, things like that. And I know how beautiful the view is out the back of the mill building looking at the river. So I know that there is lots of potential there to do something special. But while we're talking about that, we go right down the street to the Mose building. And are we having any plans at all there?
So we, the city acquired that when we were doing some of the legwork to gear up for Lock 9 Park. There was a couple different private properties that were identified as either potential to be a catalytic project or the old laundry property that sat here that was in the way and didn't really have a viable reuse opportunity. With the Mose building, the idea has always been to restore that to be, I call it the fun, funky, hip, trendy fish taco place where you walk through the building, there's garage doors to a deck out the back overlooking the river. And it's 2 stories above and a full story below at the basement level that is at grade with the trail system and just beyond the floodplain. So, you know, we think the lower level is certainly an opportunity for canoe, kayak rentals, bicycle rentals, access off of the trail up to the fish taco place, I like to call it. And the second floor could be rehearsal dinners or private gatherings or whatever it might be. We've talked to at least a half a dozen, if not more, restaurateurs throughout the region. And every one of them that has came up here and looked at it over the past, I'll say 5 years, understands and they can see the vision, much like the Crooked Handle team. You know, kudos to Jason and Christy and Jeff and Emily. You know, when we approached them, they saw the vision and said, we want to be a part of that. And they were early adopters, but they have the marquee spot, and it made sense for them to move forward. Whereas the Mose building is just far enough removed, all of those guys are saying, let me know when the rest of that happens because we want to do something there. So we're quite confident that we'll end up with a really cool establishment in there here in the very near future.
It's all about when that gets done, then we'll consider the next step. So we're at the point of getting some things done, so that should make it all better.
This is the linchpin. Every one of those private sector investors are saying, when's Lock 9 Park going to happen? And then I'll invest. And so now that they can see it's happening and it's going to be completed, all those conversations are amping up, and all the due diligence and the putting together the financial, the capital stack and everything they need to do to make their projects go are really starting to accelerate.
Well, Bill and I have a lot of questions, and we're not going to get to them all today, but I've got one last question that we have to ask, and that deals with the hotel, I-75, the building that has been closed up. What's happening on that corner? Anything?
Well, you can't see a lot happening, but there has been a lot happening, right? Okay. So over a year ago, when the property was realized to be an attractive nuisance, there was some very poor living conditions in the building that we were alerted to. It was ultimately condemned, and I won't go into a great level of detail, but it was quite atrocious. And so we condemned the property. We knew the site. I mean, it's a gateway location. It's 100% location at the interstate, at the interchange, and it's quite attractive to the developers that do the type of products that make sense at those kind of locations. So we started reaching out to folks in the development community who we knew who could deliver what we have heard the community say they want: a good sit-down restaurant, a brand hotel product, those kind of things. And that development group then was able to get the property under contract and ultimately partnered with the city to secure ownership of the tract of land. The city intervened and owns it and is basically holding it while the developer completes the deal with the end users. And they've got lease agreements with the sit-down restaurant. They've got a contract with the hotel developer. And right now it's in the permitting process, and they're doing their due diligence, the environmental, the geotech work, and all those things that people really don't care about. You can't see it. It's like, just get it done. It can't happen until those things happen. And the developer, that's their mitigating their risk, right? And so we've got at least one more hurdle to clear in terms of final approval from City Commission. And there's some things, quite frankly, the developer's got to address before everybody is comfortable with the deal. But we're at the 1 yard line, and we're feeling we're cautiously optimistic. We don't want to. I never like to get ahead of myself in terms of saying it's going to happen, because that's when things don't happen, and then everybody's disappointed. But they're way into this, so I can't imagine it not going forward. But stranger things have happened. But for at least the time being, by the end of the summer, even before then, we've got out for bid right now the demolition of the building. So we're going to proceed with demolition because it's an attractive nuisance and it needs to go away regardless. So by June, we should see some demolition activity, and then we hope by the end of the summer we'll see some site work on those improvements that we're anticipating.
So can you tell us what the developer is considering doing out there? What the restaurant and the hotel? Can you tell me anything at all about that now?
They're all indicated on the permit document, so it's hardly a secret at this point. Their lease is with Olive Garden for the sit-down restaurant. They've got a letter of intent with Chipotle to do a freestanding drive-through lane quick service restaurant. And then Hampton Inn and Suites would be the hotel product, a 4-story, 90-room hotel with their most current concept, which is vastly updated from what the older Hamptons look like.
Well, that sounds really great, and we just bought a fire engine that has a ladder truck, so if there was ever a problem, we could save it, but I hope there will never be a problem and that we'll have a great
That's all
hotel.
exciting news.
Yes,
It
it's
really
really
is.
Sprinkled, so.
Well, that's good. You know, I really appreciate your time today.
Absolutely,
And
yes.
there are so many more questions that I have, but we'll save those for another time.
Let's do it again.
And really do appreciate the time that you've given us today.
Thank
And
you so much. We really appreciate it. And I'm really excited about Lock 9. I really am.
And I'm really excited about the hotel, the potential new hotel out there. And I did talk to Ankit at the other hotel in town, and he is excited about it too. He believes that it's a benefit to the
Absolutely.
city and to both hotels. So
Absolutely.
it's
It'll
a
be a win
great
for
thing.
all.
Yep.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Bob, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, Bill.
Chuck, thank you.
Yeah. Don,
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Yep.
Thank you very much, Chris.
Thank you.
Back to the studio. We're going to go. Well, wasn't that an interesting interview? I really enjoyed it.
Well, he had so many good things to share. And like you mentioned, or was going to mention, we just didn't get all of our questions answered.
Oh,
but-
no, we have enough for another whole program sometime down the road.
Absolutely.
But
And he said he'd be willing to do another interview.
Another segment. So that's really good. It was kind of interesting though, because Bill accidentally called him. You called him Chuck.
Chuck, yeah.
And his real name is Chris. And so at the end of the interview, you'll notice when you watched that interview just a minute ago that he called Bill by a different name just to get even
Just
with
for
him.
laughs. So,
So-
you know, and I called him Chuck again then too.
Oh, well, it's all good. So you got any more
We
activities?
had fun. Yes, I do have some. Now, this next one, again, it's at Johnson Farm and Indian Agency. Now, it's coming up on June 8th and 9th. And I'm going to try to pronounce this, but it's going to be hard. It's Wa'ayafa. It's WHAURAURYE and FRAE. Now, if any of you are Scottish out there, you might be able to pronounce this, but I'm not. But what it is, it's you can immerse yourself in John Johnson's Ulster Scots heritage through tales and music, and then it also has guided tours of the house and focus on the family's heritage. And then activities that include storytelling, Scottish dancing exhibition, and some music by Drab Irish Band. And of course, it's just a site admission, which is usually about $10 for an adult. And it should be a really, really good time. Children 6 and 12 are $5 and under 5 are free. So it should be a really, really fun time. And if you're Scottish, that would be a good thing to go to. I'm not. And then another big event that's coming up that I think is really important and fun is the Canal Music Fest, and that's in Tip City, Ohio, and that's coming up June 8th, and it's going to be featuring the Aerosmith tribute band. So if you like Aerosmith, it ought to be a really fun concert. And the nice thing about it is the Canal Music Fest is free and it's family friendly. But you're not supposed to bring coolers or backpacks or anything like that. Then the event goes on, rain or shine, so it doesn't matter. And then bring a blanket or a chair, and you can actually bring your dog as long as it's well behaved and that you clean up after it. And the event is handicapped accessible, and having fun is mandatory. So it should be a lot of fun, and that's at Tip City. And then of course we have another event that goes on coming up on June 8th is the vendor show at the Piqua Center, which is, like I say, goes on once a month. So it should be a lot of fun and should be well attended. One other one that we have is, again, it's Arbogast Performing Arts Center, and it's a gospel Christian rock group known as We Are Messengers. And I know if you listen to gospel music and all that, like on Sirius, The Message and all that, you'll hear this group quite often, and they're extremely good. They're just really great. But that's coming up June 13th at the Arbogast Center, and of course to find out tickets, you go to arbogastpac.com. And you can get more information and how to get tickets and all that. But it should be a really good concert. I have tickets for it. So I'm going to be going. So it'll be fun. And then, of course, June 22nd is the Rock Piqua. And that ought to be fun. And I think isn't that supposed to be it?
Well, there was conversation, as you heard with the interview, that Chris said he thought it would be able to occur on the pavilion at Loch 9.
At Loch 9.
Now, I just had a conversation at the Rotary Club that I was at for lunch today, and they thought maybe that was a little premature. So I don't know for sure, but Rock 9 is Rock Concert is put on by the Piqua Arts Council, and I am sure if you call Jordan down there, he can give you an idea where it's going to be.
And we'll let you know because it's still a little bit out there.
We'll be back before it is.
Yes. So that's what I've got for at least this show.
Well, it sounds like there's a lot of good things going on, and we just encourage all of you to attend these events because that's what makes them successful. And I forgot to tell you in the beginning of the program, but you should get your paper and your pen or pencil out because it's good to have all of that information, and then you can write down the ones that you're interested in and make sure that you get to see those. And I'm sure you'll want to take notes on all the other things that we're talking about too, because after all, you won't want to forget it. We might drop in at your house and ask you a quiz question. Speaking of that, I'm ready for trivia. Are you ready for trivia?
Well, I'm never
ready.
No,
I'm not getting the bell's here, but we're not using it for trivia. We're going to use that for birthdays in a minute. In the meantime,
it doesn't matter. I don't know.
You'll know. It's good. By the way, you need to let us know whether you like this desk or the round table better too, because we just switched that, and I think AJ's got a hernia now because this was not a lightweight.
No,
table.
it was pretty heavy.
But he took one end, and the two of us took the other end, and he had the heavy end. So
so
I'm not sure how it works, but hey, we got it.
We got it.
So anyway. May is a special month for you and me. And I know you didn't realize this, but there's a lot of people out there who have the same problem we do. It's Older Americans Month.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
So all of us older Americans are now being celebrated. I'm not sure by who or where, but according to the internet, and everything is correct on the internet. You got to believe everything you read. Anyway, when I looked up May, it said Older Americans Month. So, well, we know it's Paperclip Day and Old
Yep.
Americans Month. So, Old Americans use paperclips probably.
Probably.
So that all works out. But then we have in 1889. Now that was before I was born. In 1889,
Barely.
the first commercial ready mix food item went up for purchase. Do you know what the first thing that was made into a mix that people could take home and make was? You got any guess? It was in Missouri, which has absolutely nothing to do with the idea of what it is, but it was in Missouri
mix.
that it happened.
Cake? Cake mix?
Well, you're kind of close. Do you know Aunt Jemima?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if we're allowed to talk about her anymore. They got all excited there for a while, and I think she's a great woman. And
that's
she
her
made
heritage.
I know it's her heritage. And guess what she made? Pancake mix.
Oh, okay.
So the first commercial mix that went on the market was pancake mix from Aunt Jemima. So that was a good piece of trivia that probably you'll never need to know unless you're on, again, Jeopardy.
And then you might.
And then I wouldn't be able to get it in time
Yeah,
for the
I was
answer.
gonna say.
But 1719, the first potato was planted in the United States in New Hampshire, which makes no sense because I thought Idaho was the potato state. But Idaho wasn't even a state in 1889.
I was going to say, we weren't even out there yet.
No, not there yet. But the first potato was planted. Now that is something that is dear to my heart because I like
Yeah,
potatoes.
you like potatoes,
Oh
I know.
boy, do I like potatoes. Every which direction except for one. Don't like that sour cream on them. Otherwise, they're all good. But anyway, then in 1920, this is one of my favorite things, and I still have it today. Boysenberry was invented.
Was invented?
Yes, because it's a mix. It's not one berry. I thought they grew those little boysenberries and people picked them and made the sauce.
So
but
did
that-
I have to admit.
Well, I found out that that's not how it is.
Okay,
But anyway, it's a cross between several different kinds of berries.
Oh, okay.
And they mix it up. And from the time I was in high school to this day, I have boysenberry syrup at my house. And that's what goes on my pancakes and French toast when I have them. And Rudolph Boysen, it was his farm in Northern California where the boysenberry syrup started. And then, of course, guess who took it over? Smuckers.
Smuckers.
So the boysenberry syrup in my cupboard is Smuckers. Now let me just tell you, for those of you who've never had it, you should be trying it. It's really good. It's a nice fruit flavored syrup. Really adds to the pancake.
So what
and
are
that
the-
started in 1920.
So what are the fruits that it's
Don't
made out
ask me that. It's not on this paper.
of? Well, I thought you were going to do some research.
I did research it and it didn't tell me that.
Well, geez. Okay.
Now, you people out there, somebody look that up and do the email thing and send it to AJ so that we can know what the boysenberry syrup is made of. We know it's berries, but we don't know what. Probably some blueberries, I bet.
Well, that's probably
And
one
maybe
of
some
them.
raspberries. I
Oh,
don't
so-
know.
now you're
There's no
just guessing.
seeds in it, though, so I don't know. Anyway, do you know what the best-selling condiment in the United States of America is? Now think condiments. Condiments could be anything. You know, I mean, you got mustard, you got ketchup, you got mayonnaise, relish. It goes on and on and on. What do you think the most popular one is?
I don't know. What's it?
Because it changed.
What's it usually
It
put
used
on?
to be ketchup.
Okay.
Ketchup was the #1 condiment in the country for sales, but it has slipped to second. And this condiment is used primarily in Mexican food.
Oh, hot sauce?
No,
No.
salsa.
Oh, salsa. Okay.
Yep, every time you go to a Mexican restaurant, you get those chips and salsa. And
Yeah.
I usually eat 3 or 4 baskets of that, and then I don't need any
Then
food.
you don't. Yeah, I was gonna say.
But it's really good. I really like them. And so salsa has become the #1 condiment seller in the country. I don't even know that I think of it as a condiment myself.
I don't either.
But again,
it's
the
good.
internet is all knowing and they
Oh,
know.
yeah. Mm.
They know. So
Yeah.
we just
and
let
the hotter
them.
the better. I like it.
Oh, I like it spicy, yeah, but
Yeah.
then can't do that at my house.
Yeah,
There are
I can't
those
at
who-
mine either.
I know. You and I should go out and have it.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Why not, right?
The last thing, this was in Washington, D.C. in 1922, and this surprised me that it was 1922. I thought it would have been many years before that, but do you see what occurred in 1922? The Lincoln Memorial was dedicated.
Yeah.
Now, I've been to the Lincoln Memorial.
I have too.
And that is an amazing place to stand.
Very impressive.
Because you look down through that mall and you see the reflecting pool, and it's just very heartwarming to see that. But that was dedicated in 1922.
Wow.
Yep. So that was a good thing. Now it's birthday time.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Well, I
There we go.
got another thing too. 1942. You know. Do you know what Bing Crosby did in 1942?
I have no idea.
Well, there's a lot of things that he did, but he recorded White Christmas.
Oh, okay.
That was the year it was recorded. And I thought, wonder how old he was. Well, he was in his 50s when he did that. So he was 51 when he recorded White Christmas in 1942. I wasn't born, but my parents were. And so they probably enjoyed that. So now birthdays. Are you ready? Get the bell close. We'll get this ready.
Yeah, you'll need to ring it.
LaToya Jackson.
Oh, jeez.
She was born May 29th. She's obviously an American singer and a TV personality. And a part of the Jackson 5. I think we talked about them the last time as part of the, like in relationship to the Mills Brothers.
Yeah.
So do you know how old she is now? No, she was a kid on TV.
I'd say 52. Yeah, I do. It's coming.
She would like you though.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah, she is 68 years old.
Seriously?
Yep, 68. Says so
Holy
right there.
moly.
Born in 1956.
You got that off the internet?
Yeah, I got that. 1950. You know, that's not easy to get these birthdays. You have to
No,
really
I-
work
you
at that.
gotta look at it.
Anyway, 1956 was when she was born, and she's 68 years old. Then we
I
got.
would have never guessed.
You didn't cheat and look at the next one, did you?
No, I
Okay.
didn't.
Annette Bening.
It wouldn't have mattered anyway.
Annette Bening is an actress, and I like her. I think she's really good in her movies. I really enjoy Annette Bening.
What's a movie that she was in?
I don't know. Don't ask me stuff I don't know. It's not on this paper. But I
on
do
the
I do
internet.
know that when I see her and I'm looking at Netflix and I'm picking a movie to watch, if Annette Bening's in it, I say it's a good one and I watch it.
Oh, okay.
And then I forget what it
And
was
then you
called.
forget what it was called.
Yeah, but
okay.
anyway, how old is she?
I really have
She
no
was born
idea.
May 29th. You know what? I give you a hint. She and LaToya, they could have used the same babysitter for them.
Oh, so 69.
66.
Oh, well.
Light Bell.
Yeah, light bell. Yeah, okay, that's good.
But I gave you a big hint, so that was good.
Yeah, you did.
So anyway, you watch the next movie with Annette Bening. Tell me what it was, and then I'll watch it because I never remember the name of the movie when it's over. I got about 2 movies that I know that I can remember from one time to the next.
Okay.
Well, we're on to the next one. This is a really important one.
Ugh.
Bob Hope. Bob Hope was born on May 29th, and it was a long time ago. Obviously,
Yes.
Bob has got his reward now,
Yep.
and he's entertaining wherever he went. We assume heaven, because he was a pretty nice guy. How old do you think he'd be today?
Today,
Yeah, because he's been deceased for quite a long time, I think, hasn't he?
110?
Well over 121.
Okay, yeah, I
Isn't
had.
that amazing?
That
Now, you
is.
young people out there, you have no idea who Bob Hope was, but Bob Hope entertained the troops
Yes.
during World War II and a lot of the
Vietnam,
all of that.
Korea,
and
Vietnam, all
and
that.
besides that, was a comedian and did movies and was just a really nice guy. My college drama coach that I had when I was in college, he directed him a few times.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
he was a vocal coach for him. Not
Oh, wow.
for singing, but for dialects and so
Dialect,
forth. Yeah, it was
okay.
interesting. Then we got Bing Crosby. You know that, 1942, he was singing
Right.
not Sound of Music, but White Christmas. Sound of Music wasn't along yet. Anyway, and finally the last one, and this is the one that blows my mind the most of all.
Okay,
John F. Kennedy.
okay,
We know that he was assassinated.
Yep.
That was a sad thing.
yep.
How old would he be today? You know, he was a young president. He was the youngest president we'd ever had.
I think, let's see, 105?
You are very close. 107.
Okay.
He was 107. We didn't even ring the bell.
Yeah,
he
that's
was
good.
107 years
That's
old.
what I-
And I think, I can't believe that. I was a junior at Piqua Central High School. That was Piqua Central High School back then. And I was in study hall when they made the announcement of the shooting. And I was in Wendell Carter's class when they announced his decease.
Yeah,
So-
I was a freshman at Miami East High School, and the senior class was putting on their senior class play, and they got done with their play, and then they came out and announced that, and we were all dismissed and went to our classrooms, and then we listened to the radio, or the speakers of what was going on and all that. It was a sad day. It really was.
Yep, for all America. Now, you know, I think we were a little more up to date than you because we watched it on the TV.
Well,
In Wendell's class.
all our classes didn't have TVs. So
That's what I'm trying to tell you right
Yeah,
there. See, we got it going on. So, anyway, you want to tell everybody how to get back to us, but did you notice our mugs? Hold up your mug. Because Elite down on Main Street, she made these for us, and we're real excited.
Yeah.
And they've got just water in them. So it's
and
all good.
what's happening in Miami County on them, which is really nice. But anyway, so our program is coming up on June 12th, is our next program. And we're going to share another piece of local history. Any hints as to what that might be?
Well, I'm not 100% sure because there is a possibility that we'll do a remote program again. And I haven't got it firmed up completely, but if it works out, instead of our standard format, we might be in the new YMCA.
Ooh, that'd be
taking
great.
a tour. It probably will not be open at that point, but I'll be talking to Jim McMacken, who's the executive director. And if we can get that accomplished, I think that might propose what I was planning on, which was to talk about probably the covered bridge or the mill down there in Tip City. Those are two things I have on my list of things to discuss.
Okay, well, that'll be great if we can get that. That'll be a great going into the new Y and seeing it. Let's see. We need your feedback, and like I said, the next program is June 12th. At 6 p.m. on Channel 5. And you can also get us on YouTube, Indian Nation Station, YouTube, What's Happening, Miami County. But please contact us. We want your feedback. And you can contact us at gangera@piqua.org. It'll be on the screen when we go off. But please, we would love your feedback because we, quite frankly, need some help. Yep. And you guys can help us. If you have any events or anything like that, or any feedback, good, bad, indifferent, whatever, we want to hear it.
Because we know we're going to miss stuff.
Absolutely.
I mean, we don't know every program that goes on, and you do a lot of research to get the list, but if you've got something that you need us to talk about, you need to let us know so that we can work that in.
Yeah.
I've got something else I want to talk about. The last thing.
Okay.
I was inspired at the Memorial Day parade. Number one, the flags. Number two, the police, the fire. All of those people were actively participating in that parade. And I want you to be aware, people, that we are so fortunate in this community to have the police department that we do. I can give you two examples. At my house, I had to have some surgery and I was blind for a few days. And our alarm went off at our house, and my wife was scared to death, and I couldn't see anything. So if I'd have gone out hunting somebody and they had a gun, they'd have shot me. That's all there was to it. So we called the police department, and they came immediately and searched the house and made sure we were clear and that everything was good. And beyond that, they were compassionate, considering we were both a little bit upset, me because I couldn't see, and my wife because the alarm had gone off. And then we had another instance, a gentleman who was driving, had a medical emergency and hit a tree in front of our house and was in bad shape. We called and immediately the police department came and the rescue department came. Police got him out of the car, resuscitated him, and rescue took him away. If without them there, he wouldn't have made it through that day.
Yep.
So those two groups are deserving. And then the last city commission meeting, the city voted to buy a ladder truck because Piqua has not had one for several years, and we've had a couple of fires where our city had to hire or call in Fletcher or Covington, somebody else who had a ladder truck, because we didn't have one. If we had a ladder truck closer to us in Piqua, we probably could have saved a couple of structures that ultimately burned because we didn't have that equipment. So that's happening also. And I've been attending the city commission meetings, and I have to be complimentary. The city commissioners and the city administration, our director, and all the people that are working with the city are doing such an outstanding job. When you drive down Piqua, down Main Street, you see so many things happening. New storefronts, Lock 9, all the stuff that's going on. It's just really good. So what I'm going to encourage all of you to do is say thank you. Write a note. If you see a police officer or a firefighter, walk up and say thank you.
Yes.
If you don't see write a note. Send a note to the city offices for the city manager or the commissioners, the mayor, just to say thank you. You know, I looked up. You know what a commissioner for the city of Piqua makes?
Probably not much.
$20 a month.
Yeah.
That's $10 a meeting for all the work that they do. So I'm just saying, say thank you. It's an important thing to do, and brings a highlight to what's going on. So I'm looking forward to next time.
Yes, so am I. And I'm Bill Cartwright.
And I'm Don Smith. Thanks for watching, and until next time, what's happening, Miami County?